sexual act. It's the blood flowing into the prostate and it becoming engorged, which is what flushes out old blood and old dead tissue. So unused prostate is going to become diseased, of course. Over the long term, it's got more chance of that. However, it's not the ejaculation that's specifically doing it, it's the sexual act. There's nothing, the ejaculator just moves through, it doesn't go through all the little veins and capillaries. That's what the blood does from being sexually stimulated. So you can get the benefits of your health from being sexually stimulated without the negative drawbacks that I've already outlined in terms of consistently and frequently ejaculating. Now, of course, if this doesn't strike you as something that you're totally interested in pursuing, I would definitely, my next recommendation would be to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients you're needing, specifically number one on the list is zinc, as well as plenty of high-quality plant-based complete protein. A fantastic source of zinc that I particularly enjoy is hu shu wu, which is a Chinese tonic herb, and its gram for gram content of zinc is on par with oysters, which are commonly touted as one of the most amazing sources of zinc. Another thing you can eat is, on a daily basis, consume some raw pumpkin seeds, and that's another very high source of zinc from a plant food source. So I've been talking a lot about male sexuality and the nutrient quality of sperm and all of these wonderful subjects, and some of you might be wondering, what about women in all this? So women obviously have a very different sexual function. They don't expel their vital essence during the sexual act or during orgasm. Their Jing essence, or their sexual fluids that is on par with male semen, is in the ovaries, just like it's in the testicles in men, and it's the eggs. And these are obviously lost once a month, and this is why the Taoists actually regarded women as being sexually superior. They had that benefit of only losing their vital essence once a month, compared to men, which on general tend to lose it quite a bit more often than that. And if they try to hold it back, it becomes even more and more difficult the longer the period of time they try to hold it back for. Now, that being said, it's actually very much possible to learn techniques and qigong practices and exercises that build the musculature of the lower diaphragms in the pelvis, which make it much more easier to avoid ejaculation during the sexual act while still maintaining very high levels of pleasure. But for women, there is actually an equivalent practice which is known as the deer practice, and it begins to cultivate the essence around the kidneys, and you begin to circulate it through the body, and over time it is said that a woman can actually stop her monthly menstruation if she so chooses. And this isn't a permanent stop. She can actually choose to just simply stop the exercises and she'll begin her flow again, and that's how she can become pregnant again. So it's a form of conscious birth control just through willpower, which is quite amazing. And it is known throughout many traditional tribal cultures that if they're healthy enough, they actually do have a different type of cycle than regular women in the West. So I do have to be careful here because I'm treading on pretty thin ice. I've talked about this openly before, and some women do get a bit vocal about it, so feel free to post your comments about it, of course. However, I have also heard and seen the benefits that some women get from doing these practices. Everything from reduced amounts of blood flow during the menstruation, which is a benefit if it's a very heavy flow. It can be discomforting. There can also be a reduction in symptoms, and actually this is a major reason of why some women start the practice is because they've found out that it reduces the symptoms of that time of the month. And it also tends to tone the hormones of the entire body, and because there's more hormones free-flowing from not having so much of the vital essence just leaking out. And women are actually found to be able to reabsorb some of that blood in their uterus before it is flushed out. So some of the benefits that these ancient Taoist women got from this practice was basically a very vital and youthful appearance, much longer than most would suspect. And if you want to know more information about this, I suggest checking out, just do a search for the White Tigress Society. It was a group in China, sort of like a sect, that was very focused on the female cultivation. It was a group of women that cultivated this in almost like a monastery type setting. However, let's just put it this way, they are far from being your typical celibate nuns. So one of the best herbs you can use as a woman to help preserve, revitalize, and replenish the blood and the energy contained in the ovaries is dangui, which is high in iron and high in some other unknown compounds that do have a very beneficial effect on the lower abdomen in general. So you might be wondering why you don't see any centenarians or hear about stories about this nowadays. Well, it just hasn't been forefront in humanity's consciousness. There are very small groups of people throughout the world who have been practicing this. So it's difficult to say whether this is truly 100% a fact that it extends life. From my personal experience, I believe that it's a very effective practice and that it's very revitalizing to the body to withhold ejaculating. And I have known some women who have had the benefits, seen the benefits of doing the practices that work on withholding the menstrual flow as well. So if you follow my videos or my articles on my website, you'll probably see me bring up this topic again in the future. But this is just touching the surface. I'd like to speak more in depth about this at a future time. However, this is just tying it in with the previous videos in the series and the connection that sexuality, longevity, and raw foods all have in common.